Title: The Whispering House. Genre: Supernatural Horror Format. TTS ready. Adam voice. Read aloud friendly. 20-25 plus minutes. Chapter 1. The Invitation. It was a gray afternoon in mid-October when the letter arrived. Lena Hart was sitting at her cluttered desk, trying, and failing, to write the next chapter of her novel. Rain tapped gently on the window pane, and the sky outside looked like it hadn't seen sunlight in weeks. Then came the knock, not from the door, from the mail slot. Clink. A single envelope slid through and landed neatly on the floor. Lena stared at it for a moment. There was something old-fashioned about it. The parchment was thick, yellowed at the edges. The handwriting was elegant, looping black ink, and the seal was wax, deep crimson, marked with an emblem she didn't recognize, a weeping eye. Curious, she opened it. Miss Lena Hart, it is with solemn duty that we inform you of the passing of your great aunt, Beatrice Harrow. As her sole surviving relative, you are now the inheritor of the Hawthorne estate, an ancestral property nestled in the hills of Black Hollow. We request your presence by the next full moon to finalize the inheritance process. Sincerely, Elias & Co., Estate Law Offices. Lena blinked. Beatrice Harrow? She'd never heard the name before. Her parents had passed when she was young, and she had no memory of extended family, no photos, no stories, nothing, and yet a free estate? Out of nowhere? She should have questioned it. She should have called someone. Instead, she packed a bag. Chapter 2. The House on the Hill. The drive to Black Hollow was long and winding. As Lena's car climbed the narrow roads into the misty hills, her GPS lost signal. The trees grew denser, the air colder. The silence. Unnatural. By the time she reached the estate, the sun had nearly set. The Hawthorne house stood atop a lonely hill, its silhouette black against the blood-orange sky. Ivy strangled its crumbling walls. Windows stared like empty eyes. Crows circled the chimney. The iron gate creaked as she pushed it open. It groaned like a beast waking from sleep. A gravel path led her to the front steps, which were cracked and uneven. At the door, a brass knocker shaped like a snarling wolf awaited her touch. She hesitated and then knocked. Nothing. The wind picked up behind her, cold and biting. The door creaked open, not from her touch, not from the wind. It opened by itself. Lena stepped inside. The smell hit her first: mildew, dust, and something faintly metallic. The foyer was grand but decayed. A chandelier hung crooked above her. The wallpaper peeled like old scabs. Footsteps echoed through the empty halls, but not her own. Then the door slammed shut behind her. The sound echoed like a gunshot. Lena spun around. Her breath fogged in the cold air. She tried the knob. Locked, trapped. Her fingers trembled. "Hello?" She called into the dark, her voice swallowed by the silence. Only the house answered. It creaked. It whispered. It breathed. Chapter 3. The First. Night. The guest bedroom smelled of lavender and rot. Lena lay on the ancient four-poster bed, the quilt heavy and scratchy. The fireplace crackled, but the warmth didn't reach her toes. The air was too still, too watchful. She tried to read. She tried to sleep, but the silence was unnatural, too perfect, as if the house were holding its breath. At 3:12 a.m., a whisper broke the stillness. Soft, dry, close. "Lena." She sat up straight. Her heart thundered. The whisper came again, this time from the hallway. "She's watching!" She jumped out of bed, clutching the candle, and opened the door. No one, but the hallway was colder. Her breath came out in white puffs, and then she noticed the family portrait at the end of the hall. It had changed. One of the painted faces, a pale woman in black, was now turned, no longer smiling, looking directly at her. Chapter 4. Whispers in the walls. Lena spent the next day searching the house. Every corner creaked. The mirrors were covered in white sheets, dozens of clocks, none ticking. The walls, when she pressed her ear to them, seemed to whisper. Low voices murmuring in languages she didn't know. In the dining hall, she found a painting of Beatrice Harrow. The woman in the portrait had hollow eyes and a stitched mouth. The plaque beneath read, "Beatrice Harrow, Keeper of Silence, 1891, no death year." That night, Lena didn't try to sleep. She sat by the fireplace, candle lit. At 3:12 a.m., the house groaned. Footsteps echoed above her, even though she knew the upper floor was locked. She held her breath. Then a voice drifted down the chimney. "Don't open the door." Chapter 5. The Boff. Locked room, the third floor had a corridor Lena hadn't noticed before. It wasn't on the blueprints she found in the library. It had no windows, just a single heavy door at the end. The wood was blackened, cracked, and covered in carvings, symbols of eyes, runes, hands, and something that looked like a broken mirror. Nailed to the center was a rusted iron plate with a word etched deep, "Stay." She reached for the knob. Ice shot through her fingers. Pain bloomed up her arm. The door didn't open, but from behind it, she heard sobbing and the sound of someone scratching desperately to be let out. Chapter 6. The Diary in. A locked drawer of the study. Lena found it. A journal, bound in worn red leather. The cover smelled faintly of ash. Inside were Beatrice's notes, long rambling entries about the whispering voices and the lady in the mirror. She was here long before us. We built the house over her resting place. I made the mistake of listening. Now she whispers through the walls, through dreams, through breath. At the end of the journal, one page was torn and bloody. Only 3 words remained. Never trust mirrors. Chapter 7. The Reflection. That night, Lena caught her reflection, blinking, not once, but twice. When she hadn't, the bathroom mirror fogged up even though the air was cold. And when she wiped it clean, her reflection didn't move. Instead, it smiled. "You look like her." Lena screamed and smashed the mirror with a candle holder. The shards hit the floor, but her reflection remained in the largest piece, watching and whispering. Chapter 8. The third floor door. She could no longer avoid it. At 3:12 a.m., something called her to the third floor. The door was open this time. Inside was a cold, circular room with a broken mirror at the center. Dozens of candles lit themselves as she stepped inside. Symbols covered the floor, and at the far end, Beatrice, or what was left of her. Gaunt, hollow, staring. She wants a voice. One must take her place. The mirror glowed. Lena was pulled toward it. Choose or she will. Chapter 9. The fire ritual. Lena fled. But the house changed. Rooms twisted. Doors vanished. Windows bricked over. The house would not let her leave. She ran to the library, grabbed kerosene and a box of matches. If the house wanted her soul, it would burn before it got it. She poured fuel through the halls, lit the fire, and raced toward the entrance. Smoke thickened. Screams echoed from the walls. Not human. At the last moment, the front door opened, and she escaped, just as the house collapsed in flame. Chapter 10. The return months passed. Lena published a best-selling novel, The Whispering House. Critics called it brilliant fiction. She never told them it was true, but sometimes, late at night, the air around her still grows cold, and always, at 3:12 a.m., she wakes. because in her bedroom mirror, she sees Beatrice, smiling and whispering. You left the door open. The end.